as we usually do, we a couple of things at cinema, a couple of things at home. We're gonna go over to Disney Plus now. We're gonna talk about Why the Last Man, which Sharon, you have finally finished watching, and I own the graphic novel for this. I love it. It's one of my favorite graphic novels. I think it's one of the best graphic novels that's been written. So you just want to tell us a little bit about Why the Last Man is and what you thought about this show.
Yeah, I came to it without having any prior knowledge. Why The Last Man is a 10 episode first season. I gather there's probably going to be more on Disney Plus. And an event, we don't know why or what the event was, but suddenly on one day, all the men in the world, all the male species of every subspecies and species, as well as humans, all the men died. They started hemorrhaging, bleeding, choking, dying
Yeah,
without warning and without any trigger. And then this leaves a world, one, depleted by half of its population, and then almost entirely populated by women.
mm.
And but amongst all this chaos, there is one man and one monkey
Yeah,
that seemingly, for no through no act of their own, through no conscious thing that they've done any different to anyone else, they survive. And then you see the story as it unfolds over these 10 episodes is, what does the last man on earth do?
yeah,
It happens that he is the son of the member of Congress, and in the whole like designated survivor type thing, because all of her male colleagues have predeceased her,
yeah,
she is basically becomes, through a process of like, okay, all the more senior members of the cabinet have died, she becomes president,
yes,
and she has to sort of navigate her way through, one, what's to do with her when she finds out that her son is living, what to do with her, the last man on earth, seemingly the last man on earth,
yeah,
how to navigate, how to keep a country running when half of its population have gone. And as they say in one point of the film, that in the boardrooms around the world and in the boardrooms around the country, there aren't that many women sitting on the boards.
yeah,
So when suddenly you lose all the men, you may find there's only one person like the who can run a nuclear power station
yeah,
is a junior executive. There isn't anyone who has been given any power in that
yeah,
organization
yeah.
left to run it. And so you see this across the world, where before women were underrepresented, suddenly there's no one who to pick up the pieces of these things.
Yeah,
And then sort of gender politics comes into play. If in a world without men, would it suddenly become all lovely and peaceful? And would it be, all sisters together?
mm,
Or would you then start to see the fractures within the sisterhood, as it were? Like if someone is a trans man, but they haven't got that Y chromosome, they're still alive. They're men because they're transitioned, but the women are saying, well, you're not a real man because you used to be a woman, so you're not a real man. That's why you're still alive.
yeah,
And so you've got these gender politics. You've got a lot of actually things that are quite current in our world are like examined in a different way through this
yeah,
drama.
yeah.
So you see there's loads of threads going through the series, as you would imagine. So I'm not going to pick up on all of them, but you see these threads that are quite topical running through it, as if to say, what would a world be like without men, and what would the world be like if you were the last one on it?
You see. Now this day, Sharon. You are making me just that synopsis is making me want to. It's making me want to go read the book, read the novel again, because I loved that whole thing about it. I loved that, like essentially what you just said, that the if you go rid of all the men, what next? What happens next? And I love the fact that anyway. This is not a review of the graphic novels, a review of the TV show. So what did you think of the TV show?
Yeah, I found it. I was intrigued by it in some ways. I thought that they kept me gripped because I quite like. I read some apocalyptic fiction,
Hmm.
so it appealed to me in that sense. Though you want to think, what is there if you limit half of the species on the planet? Is there a future? Can you have a future beyond the generation that now lives?
Yeah,
Essentially, you're not going to be. There isn't going to be any more children,
yeah,
or unless people suddenly, because even women who were pregnant with male sort of fetuses, they sort of
yeah,
miscarried. So it was, there's yeah, there's that sort of an avenue to explore. So it was interesting. There were intriguing premises there. I found it quite. The characters were played quite sympathetically. Even some of the ghastlier ones, you think, okay, you get to understand them. They're not all just there.
Yeah.
There's many sort of nuances and shades of grey. So
Yes.
no one's all good, no one's all bad. There aren't any. There isn't like the old, to use the, again, a literary sort of thing, or sort of the virgin whore dichotomy. There isn't that. There's
Oh
like
yeah,
these
yeah.
women are nuanced. There aren't like you're like a good woman and you're like a bad woman. They're like womanhood and
Mm.
all its, sort of shades. So
Yes.
I found it interesting. So I would say I probably found it interesting more than I loved it.
Yeah.
So I would certainly say it's competently made. It's well played. All the actors do their job. There's plenty to intrigue you where you think, yeah, that really is an interesting sort of moral question. So cutting all that down to what I would rate it as, I don't know, but I'll do a strong but I'm still going to have to go a strong 3. I think.
All right.
I
Strong.
think it's edging towards a 4. My only sort of queries is I know it's quite brutal in places. There's violence in it. There's quite a lot
Yes.
of it's quite sweary, so it's quite adult in its content.
Mm-hmm.
And so in with if that's sort of my own personal thing. So I would say to me it's a strong 3, but I wouldn't quite go as far as a 4 for me personally. But it was certainly worth a watch.
All right, good stuff. I might actually pick that up. Read the, but you know, I'm going to be like, I'm going to go watch it. I'm going to be like, hang on a second, that wasn't in the novel. You've changed the text. You've changed the sacred text. And it's like what? Yorick ampersand doesn't sound like that. Like that. Yeah, but it's oh, done.
Yeah, that's an interesting twist, though, isn't it? Why the last man? It represents like the Y chromosome,
Yes,
and also the last man. His name is
it's
Yorick.
Yorick. Yeah,
So
yeah.
his
Well, they did that.
name begins with a Y.
Yeah, they did that. They did that totally on purpose. But, yeah, it's oof, no, it's. Okay, see now, I want to sort of like delve into it and start going. How about this bit? Did they do this bit? Did they do that bit? What bit does it end? Did that? And it's. I really, really, really like the graphic novel. But okay, we go back to cinemas now. We go back to cinemas.